Hello everyone, great to see you again. So today we will continue on the billing topic, and then we talk about special uh, object in the system which is very often used in the project called Billable Charge. So we break that down into 5 sections. We'll do an overview and look at the elements, and then look at the template and also how we can upload billable charge from external system, and at last we look at entity relationship. Okay, so first section, overview. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about when could we use billable charge. Um, so very often we see there is a price which already been agreed with customer, or the the invoice system is actually happening outside of C2M. So let's take some examples. Let's say the agent, which actually is billing for the customers, and they will generate their bill for the customer and handle all the metering and inquiries, for example. So the utility doesn't handle with those customers directly. However, the utility still need to charge them in terms of all the cost, etc. So in that case, the utility would have a service agreement set up with the not with the customer but with the agent directly, and every month the agent will upload the consumption from the customer, and the utility will just bill the agent based on the consumption. So this could be a very typical case of using billable charge, but also there are other cases for the customer where they don't actually own the charges are not just on the energy but also things like insurance, um, or reoccurrence charges monthly, which don't have to be metered. So in those cases, billable charge can be used to calculate the billable amount and then send it off to the customer or the agent, or the we call it TPI, for example. Okay, so normally in this case in the system you would already have a service agreement set up, and that service agreement would have a billable charge role, and the billable charge being uploaded to the system would define this bill segment start date, end date, and if it's monthly, maybe just give a date range, and then that will be derived during the bill calculation. And a billable charge line is actually translated um, to the bill segment as it is, because these lines could be already calculated by the agent and they just give it to us, and we just in terms of the utility we just put them directly onto the bills. Okay, let's have a look at what are the elements for the billable charges. Okay, so there are 3 main elements in the billable charge. First one is service quantity, second is read details, and the last is the line characteristic. So what happens is for the service quantity, you could So rather than bring in bill lines, which means that's already calculated, only need to be swept onto the bill calc lines. The service quantity is brought in to calculate the billable amount. So a bill calculation line will be generated based on service quantity, and basically it's applying a rate defined on the service agreement um, to the service quantity to generate the bill segment calculation line. It can be used for a few different cases. So one of the cases is the utility doesn't manage the customer reads directly. They only ask for what is the consumption being used, and the consumption is bringing times the unit charge. That becomes a line of calculation for the unit charge amount. Or it could be, rather than consumption based, it could be, say, number of days for standing charge calculation. So standing charge is normally number of days times the amounts per day, um, the price per day, and that will calculate the standing charge. Second one is the read details. Okay, so read details actually can be brought in to replace the audit rate. So a part of the calculation, we will have the audit rate as a part of the bill segment generated. Now these readings doesn't similarly to the service agreement, service quantity we just look at. If the readings needs to be presented on the bill, then we need to have all the read details in the system. Now, for the base package bill segment creation algorithm, it's simply just to swap the billable charge read details onto the bill segment as audit reads. It doesn't actually derive any service quantity based on these reads. So if you want to calculate the consumption based on these reads, then you have to adjust the customized algorithm yourself. The last one is the billable charge line characteristics. So billable charge line characteristics, they are used to define additional information about the line. Similar to the bill calculation, which we will be talking further when we discuss about the rates, rate schedule, etc. Similar to that, it is saved as a part of a bill line. So when you look at the system, the bill calculation line, each line would have a characteristic. They are typically for bill print purpose. So when the bill is is printed or extracted, this characteristic will be taken into consideration so that the bill print PDF is able to display this information. Okay, next part, let's look at the template. So remember the template we discussed is for it's actually used to default the information on the billable charge. Okay, so for some of the billable charge, if we have certain amount of information we know upfront rather than provided by the customer, we can default literally on all the elements we have discussed, like the bill lines, amount, distribution code, service quantity, line characteristics. Um, and also it is referred on the start option. So if the start option is used for starting a service agreement, corresponding billable charge is created based on template. Right, so next look at the upload process. So upload process follow 3 stages. I think this is the first time we talk about the upload for any process in CCMB, because in CCMB, if we look at the process, I mean the uploads, normally it's not just a one batch job, it has a few batch job involved. For example, the payment upload as well, which we'll discuss in the future topics. So similar to that, for upload the billable charge, it has 3 stages. Now the first one is called process X, which means you have to create a algorithm, or well, sorry, a batch control to upload from the external system or any kind of folder, maybe a folder on the CCMB C2M server, load from the file into a staging area. Okay, so that's the first step. Second step is BCU1, which is batch control. Normally what that does is it validates all the information in the staging area before it gets processed. And the next one is the BCU2. Once the validation is run, it creates the billable charge. It creates the actual billable charge object. Also, there is a batch job for purging the upload record. So it will look at the completed upload record older than a given number of days, and they'll just purge those records. Okay, so looking at the entity relationship, we already looked at, we already talked through how billable charge would be applied to a bill. So over here we can see the billable charge is linked to a service agreement, and when the billing is running, especially on an account, for each service agreement, it would generate a bill segment. Okay, and for the service agreement, which is as we mentioned earlier, it's a type of billable charge, it also generates a bill segment. And it will take the information from the billable segments, including service quantity, calculate lines, uh, meter reads, the read details, and and characteristics, taking them into the bill segment, and the calculation will be applied there based on the rate on the service agreement. And that's how the billable charge is calculated. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you very much. See you next time.